Hey gun people, I forgot to start my damn timer on that last crazy cop story, so hopefully I didn't go over 15 minutes. Damn, this is a pain in the butt. So somebody on this camera needs to remind me that I need to start that timer. So let me go over here and start this stupid timer. So I'll go over about 15 minutes here. There, started. Alright, so I just did a couple crazy cop stories and I'll post those as I usually wait to about 1,000, 1,500 views on my last video I posted, and I'll post another one. I have like 5 or 6 videos in queue that are uploaded, so all I have to do is do all the wording and make them public, and then have YouTube come and say, oh, you used the Muslim word, we're not going to make this user-friendly, and you used the black word, and we're not going to make this user-friendly, and whatever. Freaking YouTube censorship. They'll block this one now because I'm talking shit about them. So anyway, I want to talk about, I hear a lot that, and there was a case that I was just watching on either Snapped or one of those shows. When I work on a computer, I got that in the background. Some of those are pretty interesting. Forensic Files, I like that one too. So anyway, what's the difference between not guilty, guilty, and a hung jury? Because when a jury gets a case and they hear it, they have to write down how they're voting. And I either vote guilty or not guilty. Those are my options. I don't get to vote hung jury. I vote guilty or not guilty. In order to get a conviction in our system right now, which I think they'll change later because the government wants more power and it'd be a whole lot easier to convict people if you only had to get 75% of the jurors to agree instead of 100%. But that's another issue. So you have to get all 12 jurors to vote guilty in order to get somebody convicted of crime. And we all know there's people getting out of jail all the time that were voted guilty by 12 jurors, and it comes out later through DNA that they didn't do it. Now, maybe they were involved, and I don't think anybody goes to prison over one case that gets cleared later, went to prison over one issue that confused the jury. It has to be a whole bunch of issues, and they have to be involved in a whole bunch in order for a jury to say we're going to convict them. Damn, that sun's hot out here. Woo! So, when I vote as a juror, I'm either going to vote guilty or not guilty. When the judge gets the verdict, when a jury says, you know what, we got 6 not guilty and 6 guilty, is anybody going to change their mind? No. They go to the judge and say, we're hung. We can't come to a unanimous decision. Because what the goal is of the court is to get 12 people to say not guilty or to get 12 people to say guilty. So the case is done. If 12 people say not guilty, that's called an acquittal, and the government can no longer go after you. Well, not really. The same government can't go after you. The federal government has learned to get loopholes to where they can come back later under protecting the poor minorities and their civil rights, and the federal government will come back and charge you with civil rights. Not what the founders intended, not what was intended at all. Government is supposed to get one bite at the apple. You put it in front of a jury, you get your best case, your best charge, and if you lose and everybody says he's not guilty, government, you are mandated in order to leave them alone. You can no longer come after them. Until, under the name of public safety, protecting people, terrorist act, whatever they want to call, now they can come back behind that and get you for a federal crime after you're not guilty of a state crime. But that's another issue. So, I digress. So, if you get a hung jury, that means the prosecution, the government, failed to convince 12 people that this guy was guilty. The prosecution failed. No ifs, ands, or buts. The prosecution has the whole police force. They have all the evidence. They can do all the testing, DNA. They have all the resources, unlimited money. Don't have to worry about profit and loss. They can just spend whatever they want to spend. Their only job is to convince 12 people that you're guilty of this crime. So anything other than 12 guilty, the government fails. Which is why the government, when the prosecutor takes the case to trial, one of the factors is it reasonable that I can get 12 people to convict? That used to be the standard. Now with PC and political correctness and we have to be this and we have to be that and this is a poor, gay man that was hit even though he came out there and stuck his pee-pee in someone's face and a dude knocked him out. It's a hate crime because the guy hit the poor gay guy. So we have to prosecute and waste all this money even though we know we're not going to get a conviction. because it's politically correct. That didn't used to be the case. And that's not ever going to be fixed until we get either jury nullification or until people say, you know what, you need to get a hold of who you're electing in charge and come down heat on the DA for allowing them to waste money to go after bullshit cases. Every year, you ought to review how many cases your DA loses, and that'll be his report card for what a shitty job he's doing. Because if you've got no budget and you can spend all the money you want on all the cases and you get to pick and choose and cherry pick what cases you bring in front of a jury and you can't convict people, then you suck as a DA. You know, the DA is, oh, you can't predict juries and they're crazy. And you know what? Sometimes there are some outliers and they got to blow a case, but it is what it is. You get to pick a case. I mean, if you got 11 to 1, I'll give it to you that maybe it's the one juror that's crazy. But when you start getting 7 to 3 or 7 to 5 or 8 to 2, when you start getting those numbers, no, you know what? I'll give you one crazy jury, but I'm not going to give you 3, 4, 5 and then go, oh, crazy juries. I can't believe they didn't convict him. We did such a great job and our case was so perfect, I can't believe it. Whatever. So, now, the flip side of that is if 12 people say you're guilty, you're guilty. If 12 people say you're not guilty, you're not guilty. If 12 people can't agree, it's a hung jury and the government gets another bite at the apple because they can keep coming back until everybody either agrees that you're guilty or everybody agrees you're not guilty. The other side of that is there's people out there that believe just because a jury all agree that a person is not guilty, that the guy didn't commit the crime. Prime example, OJ. Everybody agreed that he was not guilty. Anyone else with a brain knows damn well he's guilty. The evidence is overwhelming. He lost the civil suit easy. It was a hands down no-brainer. He lost. Again, he only has to tip the scales in civil. But still, for 12 jurors to say he's not guilty, that was jury nullification. For whatever reason they want to do, they said, we don't care what you tell us, we're voting not guilty. But it does not mean that OJ did not do the crime. So I always hear people in courts come back, yeah, I got arrested for that. Yeah, I got charged for it, but I was found not guilty. I didn't do it. That doesn't mean you didn't do it. That just means the prosecution did a shitty job at convincing the jurors, or for some reason, your defense confused the jury so much that they just voted not guilty, or whatever the reason is, the jury did not convict you of this crime, does not mean that you didn't do it. Conversely, if they all say you did it, there's innocent people in jail. And it does not mean that you did it. Now, I think it's pretty hard to convict an innocent person. And my one big key factor is any innocent person that doesn't take the stand, then you deserve to be guilty and spend time in jail. You try and convict me of something that I know absolutely that I'm innocent of, I'm getting on that freaking stand. I'm calling the DA a lying piece of shit. I'm calling the witnesses a lying piece of shit, and I'm saying I didn't do it. But, again, you know, you got to be willing to get up there and do that, and most attorneys are going to go, oh, it can't hurt you. His case is weak. Just sit here. And then if they vote not guilty, you can always blame me for ineffective counsel, and you'll get an appeal. Because it's all about the lawyers and keeping the system going. It's never about doing the right thing or getting the truth. That always kills me about, you know, the DAs be like, we don't want that coming in. I'm like, that's the truth. Why don't you want it coming in? Well, it'll confuse, and the jurors can't handle it, and it'll make it muddy, and then we'll have to bring in other stuff to try and clear it up, and it's just better if they don't hear it. It's the freaking truth. What? Because jury trials are not about the truth. Government prosecuting people is not about the truth. Government's about winning, telling people how great they are, telling people how jurors, what a good job they did for convicting, telling people how I saved you this and how I protected the community and how the community's safer now because I got this guy in jail. Not about the truth. I mean, if it's about the truth, you'd have DAs going, you know what, I just don't... You watch Perry Mason, old show about an old lawyer, he was beating the shit out of the DA every case. He'd have some surprise witness, and the DA looked like a piece of shit. I don't know how that DA kept his job. He lost every case he tried against Perry Mason. But anyway, you know, nowadays we don't hold our district attorneys accountable. We don't hold the state attorneys, the U.S. attorneys, the Department of Justice. I mean, our Department of Justice is freaking just, she's a freaking whack, and so is Holder. It's all about the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the black this and the black that, and we don't care about the law, and all we care about is flooding the Muslims in and destroying the country, and we don't care about Hillary, you know, corrupted the whole damn email system and used her own server and shared our secrets, but we're going to go after Petraeus and make him sign a thing because he showed his major, an active duty military person with a top secret clearance, he showed her something on his computer, he gets probation and charge. Hillary shared it with the whole damn country. You got some Argentina, I don't know, El Salvador, whatever the hell he was, that hacked into a computer, Romanian, and then shared all her shit and all his secrets. And then you got Hillary who's lying to the public about, you know, it's a video that caused this attack, when you got all these emails from the guy, you know, 200 emails saying, I need more security, this is a bad area, it's hot, you've got to get me more security, we're going to get overrun, we're going to get killed. And Hillary ignored them and they got killed and they blamed it on the video. Nobody cares. Because the liberal left agenda is #1 and the whole system is corrupt now and you can't believe anything you hear or you're told, and until people stand up and put a stop to it, it's going to get worse and worse, and we'll be in, you know, watch some videos from Venezuela right now on how socialism and how their liberal utopia turned out. All right, so we'll end that there on guilty, not guilty, and acquittal.